Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing my mid-year freakout tag. And I'm going to go ahead and warn you that I have repeated several books on this list so far, mostly because I think I've read maybe 20 books. So a lot of these are kind of going to repeat. And I've done a lot of rereads this year, and I don't want to put rereads on the list. So kind of got to cheat it. But you know, it's fine. It's whatever. It works. But so, since I am going to be repeating several books, I will briefly describe the book the first time I mention it, but after that, I'm not going to keep describing it to you. Question 1 is the best book that you've read so far. For me, that is going to be Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This is the one where we follow Emma and Justin, and they both have this curse where whoever they date and break up with, the very next person that person dates, they end up marrying. And so they decide to date to sort of cancel out their curses. And so we follow them as they meet and they go on a few dates and get to know each other and try to meet the requirements of their dates so that their curses will cancel out. But I really love this one. I loved Justin and Emma's relationship. I thought Justin was fantastic. Male character and romantic interest. I thought he was just like perfect. Okay, so this is kind of where we start cheating a little bit. The best sequel that I've read is Dragon in Winter by Jonathan Mayberry, and you'll find this on the list later. And it's also like my biggest disappointment. Go ahead and spoil that for you, because like it's just, I know it's the only sequel I've read this year that was not a reread, so it kind of has to go in both places. But so this one is book 3 to the Kagan the Dam series, and we are following Kagan as his country has kind of been overtaken by this usurper, and the usurpers kind of bring magic back into the world, and Kagan is like bound and determined to get his country back and to have his revenge on this usurper because of the fact that when they came in, they killed everybody that he loved and that he was sworn to protect. And so he feels a lot of guilt for that. And so he's a man on a mission. And so this is the conclusion for that story. Question 3 is new release that I haven't read yet, and that is My Friends by Frederick Backman. And I am currently reading this, so I got to get this out before I finish it. But this one we are following Louisa, and she is an orphan and she is homeless. And she loves this painting. And there are 3 boys in the picture that is painted in a way that not everyone kind of notices. And so she is all about this painting, all about this artist. And so she is kind of figuring out like what happened with them and how they were able to like create the painting and like the story behind it. And we're also getting some of the flashbacks for the artist and how this painting kind of came to be. And so really liking it so far. Question 4 is most anticipated release. And I'm going to be honest, I don't pay attention to new releases at all. Unless it's like a book that I absolutely love. And I've got other like YouTubers and things that are talking about it. I have no idea what's coming out. So I had to like go and do research to figure out a book to add to this part of the list. That book is going to be When Yavi Dumped Mari by Mia Sosa. And this book comes out June 24th. So this book actually sounds really funny, and it's very typical Mia Sosa kind of thing. But so you have these 2 characters, Yavi and Mari, and they have a pact to only date people that the other person approves of because they're best friends. And why they made that kind of pact, I don't know. We'll figure it out. But so when Mari gets engaged, Yavi didn't get a chance to like meet the person before all that happened. So 6 weeks before the wedding, Yavi finally meets this dude, doesn't like him, and is also ready to confess their own feelings for Mari. And so they have 6 weeks to convince Mari that the wedding isn't going to work and convince them that they're the right choice for them. So definitely very Mia Sosa sort of storyline. I love her writing, so I'm really excited for that. Number 5 is the biggest disappointment. And like I mentioned before, it's going to be Dragon in Winter. I just didn't love it as much as I would have liked to have. And so like that book really needs to be here. Like if it was only going to get one spot, it would be here. But I didn't have any other sequels. So like it kind of had to go into the other spot. So it gets best and most disappointing at the same time. Just kind of how it works. But so yeah, I just didn't like it as much. We didn't follow the main character Kayan quite as much as I would have liked. Like we got a lot of other perspectives, which didn't really seem to make a whole lot of sense, and so I just didn't like it. Number 6 is biggest surprise of the year, and I'm gonna go with Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. And the reason this is the biggest surprise is because this is a thriller, and I never really read thrillers, never really thought I'd be interested in thrillers. Loved this. I was hooked from chapter 4 all the way on, like couldn't put it down. And this, we're following this guy Grady, and his wife dies and like goes missing in chapter 1, like very right off the start. And so we fast forward a year later, and he's still grieving, obviously, because there's no body, there's nothing. So like he gets no closure from her being gone. And he is kind of struggling in life as everything's kind of falling apart. He's not being able to write, so he's worried that his agent's going to drop him. He's not published anything, so he's going to have to return some money that he got on his advances. And he's just struggling. So his agent recommends that he goes to this island and write there so that he could be by himself and not have to worry about any other people. Well, he goes and there's like 20 other people there. There's hardly anybody there. And he's starting to see his wife everywhere, and he's not sure if he's actually seeing her or if he's kind of losing his mind a little bit because he's not sleeping, he's not eating, everything's kind of chaotic. And so you follow him as you're learning like what is actually happening in this town. And it is so much fun. It was a great ride. And because of this book, I am all for recommendations for thrillers. So you're seeing this and you have any thriller recommendations, let me know in the comments, because I really think this is something that I could get into. Number 7 is new favorite author, and I am kind of cheating here. So I'm going with Lynn Painter, and I had previously read one of her books like way before, but I read several of her books this year, and I am just in love with her writing, like obsessed. As soon as I finished one, I found more. And I've got several still on hold on my Libby app so I can read more of her stuff. Like, absolutely want to read all of her stuff now because I read, well, what did I read? I read The Do-Over, I read Better Than the Movies, and I read Accidentally Amy. I read all those like back to back. So technically I'm cheating, but she definitely deserves to be in this spot. Number 8 is newest fictional crush. And, you know, while I'm 30 and don't really like have crushes on characters, Justin from Just for the Summer is going to go in this spot because like if he was real, absolutely. Like this dude went above and beyond for these fake dates that they went on. I mean, in my 30 years, never seen any other dude go above and beyond like he went above and beyond. And it was just romantic. Like Nicholas Sparks needs to take notes on the romantic of Justin from that book. So definitely gonna go with him. Number 9 is newest favorite character, and I'm gonna go with Kel from The Swordcatcher. I just really like the concept of his character because he is simultaneously a best friend and a bodyguard to the prince. And I really loved his dynamic with the prince, and I love the fact that like he is completely leading a double life. The only ones that know that he's a sword catcher is the prince, and then just a couple of people who like have to know. None of their friends know that he's a sword catcher. Nobody. They have kept it down the down low as much as they possibly could. And so like day in and day out, he is living this double life. And so I just think that that's really cool. Number 10 is Book That Made You Cry, and I'm going to have to go with Room by Emma Donoghue. And this book, oh my gosh, if you don't know, if you haven't read this book, you really need to. We're following this little boy, Jack, and his mom, who he calls Ma, and they are held captive. And they've been held captives for his entire life, And then she was captive 2 years before that. So all that he's ever known is this room that they've been in. And he has no concept of the outside world. He's never touched grass, never touched trees. Like, he doesn't even know that other people are real. Like, that is how confined he is to this room and how isolated they are. And so the book is about their big escape, where they're going to make their great getaway from this room. And it's just, oh, it's so touching. I loved it. Number 11 is Book That Made You Happy, and I am going to go with Just for the Summer in this one because I read this with a friend as we were going to Nashville for the weekend. And oh my gosh, we had so much fun listening to this on audio. Like, we both just laughed out loud and like awed like the entire time. Like, it had us both like mesmerized. Like, we couldn't listen to it enough. And so loved it so much. So it's definitely the book that made me the happiest this year. 12 is The Most Beautiful Book That You've Bought This Year. And I'm going to go with A Tide of Black Steel by Anthony Ryan. Like, look how pretty this is. And look, like the shadows in the weapon here. I'm not even going to embarrass myself. And like, it's just so pretty. And so this I picked up based on the cover because I love that. But this tagline, this is probably all I read when I picked it up, when I actually bought it, says, "A new age has dawned, an age of blood and steel, an age of wrath." That's all I needed. It's pretty, and it looks like Viking-esque, and so I'm down. And then the last question is number 13, and it is books that you want to finish by the end of the year. So there are like dozens, but I'm going to go with Jade City. This is the Greenbone Saga by Fonda Lee, where we're following that gangster family. Gardens of the Moon by Steven Erikson. That's right. This is where we're following like an epic fantasy world. Lots of things going on, lots of cultures and worlds and storylines, and epic. And then Wind and Truth by Brandon Sanderson. This is the conclusion for this part of the arc. Like, there are going to be 10 books total, but it's going to be in 2 different arcs. So books 1 through 5 and then 6 through 10. And this is book 5, and it is the completion of this first set. And so, Stormlight. If you don't know Stormlight, quick summary, it is epic. Lots of characters. We're following soldiers, we're following slaves, we're following scholars as they're trying to figure out their world and kind of what happened when their king got slaughtered. I mean, assassinated. I guess that's a better word. And you got some like different powers coming in and lots of politicking happening. And so it's pretty epic. But I think that those are the biggest 3 that are on my list this year to finish by the end of the year. But so that's the tag. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Have you read any of these? What are your best books of the year? What's your most disappointing book of the year? Because that's a lot of fun. Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next one.